allies, shifting responsibility to them to deal with the now closed Strait of Hormuz.
I think that the people understand it. We'll be leaving very soon, and if France or some other country wants to get oil or gas, they'll go up through the strait and Hormuz Strait. They'll go right up there and they'll be able to fend for themselves. Look, problem with the strait, a guy can take a mine, drop it in the water, and say, oh, it's unsafe. It's not like you're taking out an army or you're taking out a country or you can drop it. Or you can take a machine gun from the shore and shoot a few bullets at a ship. Or maybe an over-the-shoulder missile, small missiles. That's not for
President Trump. Are they focused on Iran or only insofar as, man, this price at the pump, where, yes, other people do pump their gas, is unbearable for me, that these groceries at the Stop and Shop are unbearable. What are you hearing from the constituents of New Jersey?
I pledge.
Welcome to Morning Joe Weekend on this Saturday morning. Let's get you caught up on the big stories of the week.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is now serving as acting Attorney General after the president yesterday fired Pam Bondi. Her removal as the country's top prosecutor comes after criticism of her leadership at the Justice Department and its handling in particular of the Epstein files. The Wall Street Journal reports the president fired Bondi Wednesday morning while the two were in the presidential limousine on the way to the Supreme Court. Bondi told an associate Trump said to her, quote, "I think it's time." She reportedly asked if she could keep her job until the summer, but the president declined. Trump had already decided earlier in the week that he would replace her. The Journal first reported in January the president had been increasingly unhappy with Bondi for failing to successfully prosecute his perceived political enemies and over her handling of the Epstein files release. Bondi expected to officially leave the Justice Department in about a month, according to the Journal. So, Jonathan Martin, this had been sort of whispered for several weeks now.
Yeah.
President Trump didn't think that Pam Bondi had gone far enough in effectively being his right arm at the Justice Department, going after perceived political enemies. And when she did, they failed in those attempts. And also, it's interesting when he talks about her being fired over the release of the Epstein files. Perhaps he's upset that she didn't protect him well enough, the fact that his name is all over those files. So how in the end did this come to be?
I think he just nailed it. I mean, I think it's the combination of the Epstein files and the fact that it was sort of seen as, in his eyes, something that was damaging to him, that was dragging out for a period of months.
After criticism of her leadership at the Justice.
For this edition of Dateline, I'm Andrea Canning. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to Morning Joe Weekend on this Saturday morning. Let's get you caught up on the big stories of the week.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is now serving as acting Attorney General after the president yesterday fired Pam Bondi. Her removal as the country's top prosecutor comes after criticism of her leadership at the Justice Department and its handling in particular of the Epstein files. The Wall Street Journal reports the president fired Bondi Wednesday morning while the two were in the presidential limousine on the way to the Supreme Court. Bondi told an associate Trump said to her, quote, "I think it's time." She reportedly asked if she could keep her job until the summer, but the president declined. Trump had already decided earlier in the week that he would replace her. The Journal first reported in January the president had been increasingly unhappy with Bondi for failing to successfully prosecute his perceived political enemies and over her handling of the Epstein files release. Bondi expected to officially leave the Justice Department in about a month, according to the Journal. So, Jonathan Martin, this had been sort of whispered for several weeks now.
Yeah.
President Trump didn't think that Pam Bondi had gone far enough in effectively being his right arm at the Justice Department, going after perceived political enemies. And when she did, they failed in those attempts. And also, it's interesting when he talks about her being fired over the release of the Epstein files. Perhaps he's upset that she didn't protect him well enough, the fact that his name is all over those files. So how in the end did this come to be?
I think he just nailed it. I mean, I think it's the combination of the Epstein files and the fact that it was sort of seen as, in his eyes, something that was damaging to him, that was dragging out for a period of months, that was creating a constant, relentless storm that wasn't going away, unlike any other story that he's faced since he came back to the presidency, Willie. And I think the other issue was very straightforward. His view of DOJ is that it is a political arm for him to exact revenge on his political foes. It's not more complicated than that. And she couldn't secure indictments on Tish James, on James Comey, and on Adam Schiff. And those were sort of the three folks he was really eager to go after and get revenge on, and she couldn't deliver indictments. Now, we know why she couldn't deliver indictments, because grand juries couldn't get it done because there was no obvious charges against any of those three individuals to deliver. But that's really it. The Epstein thing was a mess, and she couldn't get the revenge that he craved. Willie, the larger context is he's got two cabinet secretaries here at DHS and DOJ, two of the most significant posts in the federal government, and neither appointee lasted 14 months. So for all this talk about, well, Trump, too, doesn't want turnover, he doesn't want a lot sort of bad process stories, he just pushed out two of his top cabinet officials after less than 14 months in office.
And now Todd Blanche, actually his personal attorney, is the acting attorney general. If Pam Bondi didn't go far enough, despite her fealty to Donald Trump, I guess he hopes his personal lawyer will. The Wall Street Journal editorial board's writing this morning a new piece titled, "Pam Bondi Gets Trumped as Attorney General." The Journal writes this: "Is there a worse job in Washington, D.C. than Attorney General under President Trump? We can't think of many. Ms. Bondi won't go down as a great AG, but we wonder if anyone could succeed given Mr. Trump's expectations for the job. The president wants someone who will do his bidding, which is proper on policy issues. The problem is he also wants an AG who will indict his political enemies and stretch the limits of the law to serve his political goals. This is a losing proposition. Ms. Bondi's great fault is that she was never good at saying no. A good AG owes the president his best independent legal advice, even if it's something the boss doesn't want to hear. The president's use of lawfare to repay his enemies will backfire on him, as it did on Democrats in 2024. He needs an AG willing to tell him when his demands cross a legal line." And Joe, it's not clear that Todd Blanche or some of the other names that we're talking about or hearing could be the next attorney general will do that whatsoever in terms of pushing back against Donald Trump. But again, Pam Bondi did her best to be the right arm of Donald Trump at the Justice Department. We remember the hearing that was supposed to be over the Epstein files, where she started talking about the Dow Jones crossing 50, that she had Oppo research on every Democrat asking a question, fumbled the Epstein files from the beginning. But in the end, she wasn't able to go as far on personal matters for Donald Trump as he wanted her to.
Right, and we remember it was maybe back in September of last year, where the president frantically sent a direct message, what he thought was a direct message on Truth Social to Pam Bondi, when in fact it was read by the entire world, where he said, "Quick, hurry up, time's running out," and then suggested she start prosecuting his political enemies. And John Meacham, that would have been a great time for her to actually take a stand against Donald Trump. Obviously, I've known him for a long time, and I've explained to House speakers, I've explained to incoming agency heads, I've explained to anybody who asks me. Listen, being a sycophant doesn't work. At the end, if you're a sycophant, you end up just like every other sycophant that's come in and gone out of that office. You get fired, you get humiliated, you get thrown under the bus. At some point, maybe somebody will try standing up to him and getting fired for that reason. But it seems to me, John, and this is obvious, but what America needs, what this constitutional republic needs, and in fact, what the president needs is somebody who will tell him the truth. Much better to be fired for being a truth teller than being fired by being a sycophant who can't prosecute political enemies because the court's just not going to allow her or any other attorney general to do that.
God willing, and judges and grand juries willing. I think this is a somewhat complicated moment, right? Because politics, as everybody here knows as well or better than I do, is a human matter of incentive, right? And so what is the incentive for an attorney general under President Trump? The incentive is as it seems to be with everyone there, is that you're for really the first time in American history, and I say that advisedly, you're really working in a court, a king's court, more than an administration. So that's the first thing. Even Edmund Randolph and Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton, that was a different thing, right? That was a cabinet all the way through. This is different. And so you have this attorney general who is been removed for, in a way, doing the right thing. So what's the lesson? The lesson is don't do the right thing if you want to keep your job in this particular cabinet. Now, I agree with you, Joe. This never ends well, working for President Trump. And the way I would try to think of it, if I were in the arena, is, look, do you want to be Joe McCarthy or do you want to be Margaret Chase Smith? Do you want to be Elliot Richardson or do you want to be Robert Bork to go to the Saturday Night Massacre? Take a stand, because the stand you take that is in keeping with the law, in keeping with tradition, is going to stand you in better historical stead than following the whims of a given person. And I hope the successor takes that incentive as opposed to the let's please the king no matter what incentive.
Well, yeah, and being a sycophant obviously has done none of these cabinet members who got fired and humiliated and kicked to the curb. It's done none of them any good. David Drucker, in Pam Bondi's case, she was, as the Washington Post said, she was a sycophant from day one, giving just over-the-top, flowery praise of Donald Trump, having that performance in the Judiciary Committee that was cringeworthy even for Republican members of the House and Senate. But you go through and, yes, a lot of this had to do with Donald Trump, just based on what we've heard, being angry. I suspect also coming after the Supreme Court hearing and just a spate of federal judges ruling against him. It seems like they're 3, 4, 5 a day on, stopping some of his zaniest ideas. That certainly may have been one of the reasons for this timing, but Pam Bondi also did other things that offended the base. I've got the files on my desk. And then when the Epstein files are finally released, she doesn't release enough to please the MAGA base, and she releases too much for the Republican president, right? So she gets it both ways. And then finally, all of these lawfare episodes, just the most preposterous charges, so preposterous that you not only have courts stopping it, you have grand juries doing something grand juries hardly ever do, and refusing to indict. So, yeah, a lot of things were out of her hands and her control, but certainly she didn't make things easier on herself from day one.
No, she didn't. And you could see with all of these cabinet members, maybe not all of them, but most of them, right? There's the job they're trying to do day to day in their agencies, and then they're also trying to manage the president. They're trying to manage him internally. They're trying to manage him publicly. We often talk about these hearings where cabinet officials like Bondi appeared, and it's an audience of one, right? It's all about managing the president and his ego and what he wants to hear, and that's where you get that sort of loony, screed about the Dow. The Dow is above 50,000. I mean, that's great. I've got a 401k, but you're the attorney general. I don't know what that has to do with your day-to-day job. I think a couple things, Joe. First of all, if you talk to lawyers who have worked at the Department of Justice, they will tell you that old saw about, being able to indict a ham sandwich may apply to random counties and states, does not apply in federal court, right? So there is a much higher and more professional bar for indictments when you're going to court as a federal attorney. And that's one of the things that was always going to trip up the DOJ under Pam Bondi, and it will trip up if they insist, unless they can pull some rabbits out of hats, will trip up her successor.
And don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to talk about on Morning Joe Weekend.
This is the true story of Alex. Recently promoted, he was earning more, but investing for the future,
I definitely needed a plan.
with his advisor Dennis, Alex invested his savings into 3 accounts.
One for now, one for later, and of course, his retirement.
A plan in motion put the future in focus. The wedding, the barn-dominium, kids.
Maybe kids.
The point here, Alex has more than big goals for his future. He's got a plan to get there.
So Dale, you really need to get that colon cancer screening.
Dad, it's been forever. I need to be in there. Wrap it up. Come on, Dad. It's taking forever.
How much longer?
It's been an hour. Are you done yet?
Dale, don't worry. We can do it with just a blood test. Shield.
Okay, let's do it.
Shield is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved Shield from the company trusted in blood tests for cancer for over a decade.
That's rough. But hey, with SafeLight, you can get that fixed any way you want.
Anywhere I want.
It's your windshield. Get it fixed any way you want with SafeLight.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
Moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep you out of the picture. Now, there's Skyrizi.
I've got places to go and I'm feeling free. Control of my symptoms means everything to me. Control is everything to me.
Get back in the picture. Skyrizi is proven to help deliver relief, repair, and remission. Feel significant symptom relief as early as 4 weeks. Skyrizi is proven to help visibly repair damage of the intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year, and help people achieve lasting remission.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or UC.
Ready to get back in the picture with Skyrizi?
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and UC combined.
Did you take your vitamin today?
That's my job.
Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Easter in America, a time to reflect on your life's purpose and the spirit of rebirth and renewal, knowing that through Christ, all things are possible. Rejoice in the Lord, that every day brings a new beginning. Embrace the promise of tomorrow as you honor your calling and create a brighter future by serving others and glorifying God. Happy Easter from Grand Canyon University.
What makes a post-university person? Post people don't have time to waste. They want to move their career forward. Post people don't have money to waste. They want a good education at a great value. Are you a post person? Find out at post.edu.
If I were to talk to someone who is looking to implement NetSuite, I would say you would never regret it. It truly has revolutionized our business. It's changed how we think, it's changed how we build processes, and I ultimately think it's the best decision we've ever done for our operations.
Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home. This short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror attacks against commercial oil tankers in neighboring countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. They will use them, and they will use them quickly.
Let's bring in Democratic Governor Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey. She served nearly a decade in the United States Navy, leading missions as a helicopter pilot, among other many things on her resume. It's great to have you back on the show, Governor.
Thanks so much for having me.
I guess first, I would like to ask about the war in Iran overall in terms of this policy. But how is it impacting affordability in your state, and what are your concerns moving forward?
Well, obviously, gas prices. We just keep seeing them go up, 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 on top of the affordability crisis that we're already facing across the country with the illegal tariff plan, et cetera. And what was striking to me about the president's remarks last night is how every single time President Trump gets involved, things get worse for the American people. So he had no discussion of why we got into this war, what we hope to achieve, or how we're going to get out of this war. And, you know, also kind of a de minimis nod to gas prices going up, saying we should all just suffer a little bit and it'll end in 3 weeks. I think he said about 12 times he's about to end this war with really no plan to do so. It's a very dangerous situation and quite striking for a president who said he was not going to get us into these forever wars. And yet now he seems to be hell-bent on doing just that.
So geopolitically, how easy is it to make a declaration as to where this is going to go when you are dealing with an invasion of Iran?
It is really difficult to chart out exactly what the path is forward here. And I'll tell you why, given what we've seen, especially in Ukraine recently, we could decimate the Iranian Navy. We could decimate a lot of their warfighting capabilities. But what we've seen is just very low technology, just minimal technology for minimal cost with, I think, the Shahed drones and stuff that they're using. We've copied them because they're so effective, and they can produce thousands of those. And so it doesn't matter if we take out their ships and aircraft. They still have the drone capability. We haven't decimated them in the way that we would like to. And we also haven't charted out how we are going to keep them from utilizing the Strait of Hormuz to shut down oil, shipments across the world. And I have to tell you, too, another thing to just show the complete incompetence of this government is when it seems as if they did not take into account the need for the Strait of Hormuz, which I tell you, Mika, I learned about the Strait of Hormuz as a plebe at the Naval Academy with strategic choke points. So the fact that our Secretary of Defense seems to have no understanding of the strategy or what we're doing here or how it's going to impact the world is shocking to me.
And suggesting that it'll just open naturally the minute we leave, which now Iran understands what a leverage point that is. They've changed the world economy by choking that off. I'm curious, just inside the state of New Jersey, when you were running, people were worried, they were going to lose, and then you won by a significant amount. Your agenda and how it's playing in the state of New Jersey, I cited a poll from FDU that has your approval at about 60%. That's a pretty good number, to which you quickly said, give it some time. But I'm just curious what you're hearing from the people who did come out and vote for you. Are they focused on President Trump? Are they focused on Iran, or only insofar as, man, this price at the pump, where, yes, other people do pump their gas, is unbearable for me, that these groceries at the Stop and Shop are unbearable? What are you hearing from the constituents of New Jersey?
I pledged to fight to lower costs for the people of New Jersey, to address those key things that I was hearing about day to day as I went around the state. And that was utility costs, it was grocery prices, the cost of housing. And I've done just that. I stopped my inaugural address to sign an executive order freezing rate hikes. I took on power expansion across our state so long-term we could drive down utility costs. We've, in my first budget, put money back into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So at every turn, I've worked incredibly hard on those key drivers of costs for New Jerseyans. And yet at every turn, the president is raising costs, saying just recently he couldn't fund Medicare or Medicaid because he has to fund the DOD. In fact, this administration has asked for $1.5 trillion for the defense budget next year as they cut health care, as they cut education, as we see gas prices going up, as we see because of the tariff continued high grocery store prices. So at every turn, the president's making things worse for people. And so the people of New Jersey are getting angry. I mean, it doesn't take much. we're ready, we're ready for the fight. But I have to say, at every turn, he is making things worse.
Well, look at the executive order the president signed yesterday seeking federal control of mail-in voting.
Oh, let me check my notes here. Yeah, that's unconstitutional, too.
It's a move two states promised to immediately challenge in court.
Sarah Benzino, Brandon Coley, Jablonski Auto Body, LLC.
Yeah! Woo!
What'd she call Harper?
Oh, you mean Jablonski Auto Body, LLC.
We actually sold the Twins naming rights.
You know, like stadiums do. Kids are so expensive these days. Here he comes.
Oasis Breeze Tan and Spa.
Yeah! If you need a tan, I'm your man. Could do business with you.
Or we can look at some investment options for you.
Works for us.
The right money moves aren't as absurd as you think.
The average air duct contains 40 pounds of allergens, dust, and bug feces. That ends today.
Is it bad their steamer?
Horrifying, kid.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. The little pill with a big story to tell.
Jardiance plays a role in my story, too. I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well with Jardiance, a once daily pill that helps lower my A1C. It works 24/7 in the body to flush out some sugar.
And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death, too.
Serious side effects include increased ketones in blood or urine and infection between and around the anus and genitals. Both may be fatal. Severe allergic reactions, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections in men and women, and low blood sugar. Stop taking and tell your doctor right away if you have nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, rash, swelling, trouble breathing or swallowing. Tell your doctor about lightheadedness, weakness, fever, pain, tenderness, redness, or swelling between the anus and genitals. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have new pain or tenderness, sores, ulcers, or infection in your legs or feet.
Jardiance is a little pill with a big story to tell. And if you ask me, it's pretty swell.
Action!
Our family started Cane Brew with a dream and a lot of hard work. Now we're thriving, growing, and hiring. Artificial intelligence has made all the difference for our business. We're a case study for how AI is strengthening American manufacturing. Washington needs to help AI flourish. It's vital to our economic security. We cannot let China dominate these technologies. America must innovate and win. Let's protect our competitive edge.
When dry eyes need a boost,
Blink. Ready, set, blink.
Up to 10 hours of relief to help you keep going. Relief with every blink.
We'll give you this for a better deal on that.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal.
TaxAct is here to remind you you have to do your taxes. Let's get them over with.
What's one word to describe life after a car accident? Chaotic. It's a never-ending list of to-dos unless you call the right lawyer, and then poof.
After an accident, let us help relieve the stress and chaos. Here for you 24/7, contact Siegfried and Jensen.
Authentic Mexican flavor has a name that echoes across the world for everyone to hear. Cholula, authentic Mexican flavor.
There's great pride in doing projects yourself. It's about knowing you can depend on you. And that independence is why you went to True Value. No matter the project, True Value is here to help you bring your vision to life. True Value, your project, your way.
The human brain is truly incredible. It's a complex network of 100 billion neurons that create cognitive functions surpassing that of supercomputers. Our brain controls our thoughts, our emotions, and our movements. Prevagen contains apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish, and is designed specifically for the brain to help keep it amazing, so that we can continue to live our best life. Prevagen, for your brain.
President Trump has signed a sweeping executive order attempting to change rules for mail-in voting. The order requires the Department of Homeland Security to create a database of U.S. citizens who are eligible to vote, which the U.S. Postal Service then would use to send out absentee ballots. Those ballots would be mailed in envelopes with special codes only to voters approved through the DHS-managed system. Additionally, the order directs the Attorney General to, quote, prioritize the investigation and prosecution of election entities that distribute mail-in ballots to voters deemed ineligible, and directs federal government to withhold funding from states that refuse to comply. The order already facing immediate legal challenges from several states, arguing it violates the Constitution's assignment of election authority to states and Congress, and clearly not to the president. President Trump often has criticized mail-in voting as cheating. Despite little evidence of that, he also recently cast his own mail ballot for the special election in Florida. The president spoke about this new order yesterday.
The cheating on mail-in voting is legendary. It's horrible what's going on. And it's very clearly covered, very, very clearly. So I think this will help a lot with elections. I don't know how it can be challenged. You'll probably challenge it. You may find a rogue judge. You get a lot of rogue judges, very bad people, very bad judges. But that's the only way that can be changed, and hopefully we'll win an appeal if it is. But I don't see how anybody can challenge it. I don't see how they can challenge it. And remember, it's about voter integrity.
Joe, everyone will challenge it and do so very easily because they'll just slide a copy of the Constitution across the table.
Yeah, he says it with a straight face, which is extraordinary. You know, he's holding, a busted straight or whatever, or flush or whatever. It's such a preposterous position. He knows it's unconstitutional, right? He knows it's unconstitutional, just like he knows that he can't change the 14th Amendment with the stroke of a pen. I mean, if presidents could do that, we would have had presidents changing the Constitution left and right. But here, it is so preposterous because he knows it's unconstitutional, and he does it anyway, and then acts shocked. And he goes, oh, judges, bad people. Like, he's going to go to the Supreme Court today, and he's going to glare at the justices that he appointed, my justices, over something that he knows is unconstitutional. And then he's going to be shocked and stunned and, oh, they're bad people. Maybe if you say they're bad people 4 times, then the justices will say, oh, no, he's mad at me and I better not follow the Constitution. It's crazy. But, Katty K, I mean, what he's doing here, whether it's trying to seize ballots in Georgia and doing all of these things he knows are wildly unconstitutional, and hoping that he'll be able to intimidate judges. That's not working right now, by the way. He's merely setting up his argument. I mean, this guy is a New York real estate guy. He's merely setting up his argument for why he wasn't able to build the biggest and greatest tower in the world or whatever. But in this case, why he's going to lose, because he's already said he knows he's going to lose. Presidents in midterm elections usually lose. The Republicans' numbers are horrible. They do horribly when he's not on the ballot. So he's setting this all up. So after he loses, he can say, look, they rigged the election. How dare the Supreme Court allow other Americans to do what Melania and I did in voting in all of our elections?
I'm still loving the idea of the Supreme Court justices there, sitting there trembling, because they're such little wilting flowers. I mean, they're sensitive souls, and if they're sitting there and the president is glowering at them, I think it could change the way they rule. I mean, I really do. I think that they would sit there. No, so I mean, it's ridiculous. It's the spectacle with Donald Trump. It's the spectacle of him showing up. That's what he wants. And I haven't, even conservatives I've spoken to have said, this is a terrible idea. You don't want the federal government involved in elections at this level, because one day, guess what? There will be Democrats in control of the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and they will be the ones who will say, okay, we want to run these elections our way, especially, David, when you think that you've had the firewall between the Department of Justice and the White House has been eroded in the way that it has been. And maybe the next president will come in and put that firewall back up again, but we don't know. But when you've got the Department of Justice basically being the Trump family law firm, it feels like a little bit at the moment, you know, you get Democrats and they may use it the same way. So even conservatives are saying to me, I like the idea of identification for voting. A lot of other countries do it. But the idea of federalizing and giving power to the federal government over state elections is a terrible idea.
He has been on course to federalize elections, to change the fundamentals of the system. At least since he began this second term, he has said, if we can change the rules, we won't lose for 90 years. He said that some months ago. This is very much a political play on his part. I think he does hope it'll lock in Republican control, and it's going to lead to some big legal battles. If you look at the number of things that he's trying to do now that are paused or stopped altogether by federal district courts, it's extraordinary, and it's setting up. I think we heard a bit yesterday, this clash between the president and what he will claim is a judiciary that's out of control and violating his wishes, and then he'll press that to his followers and try to organize them against the judiciary. That's a really scary vision of the future if this continues.
Coming up on Morning Joe, we'll dig into where Gen Z stands on the war in Iran. Our next guest says young Americans aren't waiting to be persuaded. They're waiting for something to unlock what they already feel. That conversation is straight ahead. You're watching Morning Joe. We'll be right back.
Feel the power of Osteo Biflex. Taken every day, it's clinically shown to improve joint comfort in 7 days with significant improvement over time.
At the UPS Store, we offer a lot because running a small business takes a lot. That's why we're the Help Protect Your Privacy store and the Give Your Business a Real Street Address store. So while you're juggling everything else like the boss you are, we're the extra pair of hands store. You can count on us as the shredding and mailboxing, anything and everything to keep you going store. Get 25% off shredding. Visit the upsstore.com/shred.
Planning to move? Choose Pods, the most awarded container moving company. Pods brings the container to you. Then we'll take it to your new home or store it at a secure Pod storage center. And you don't have to do the driving. Trust Pods with your next move. Book at pods.com.
Even on my antidepressant, I wasn't making enough progress. And still hiding my depression. I wanted more for myself. So my doctor recommended Rexulti.
When taken with an antidepressant, Rexulti was proven to significantly reduce depression symptoms, more than an antidepressant alone.
She said Rexulti could provide a boost. Adding on helped me move forward.
Elderly people with dementia-related psychosis have increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions and worsen depression in children and young adults. Call your healthcare provider right away to report new or sudden changes in mood, behavior, thoughts, or feelings, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Could a boost help you build on your progress?
Ask your doctor about adding Rexulti.
I never thought I would develop shingles. I was wrong. I didn't know that 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles, and it could reactivate.
Don't learn the hard way like I did. Talk to your healthcare provider today.
Lily doesn't play like she's 62. She plays like you owe her something. And with Ensure Max Protein, she always collects.
Told you she still plays?
You're in your prime, so keep it that way. Insure yourself.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable and inconvenient, but with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most. Special financing and low monthly payment options are available. And if you call now, you will also receive a free 5-year warranty valued at over $500. Call or go online now to request your free quote. Power your life with Generac.
Really happy to have you here. Happy Monday. I have some stuff to show you guys. If we are trying to backstop our democracy, part of it is Congress asserting itself. How hard has it been to get this information? Can I just get your take, your read on what's going on here? Trump has never been less powerful. The agenda he's pursuing has never been more evident and more unpopular. The people on the other side of this fight, they know the way they're going to save American democracy is by using American democratic means to do so.
Our next guest is unpacking what he calls the, quote, tug of war inside Gen Z's heads surrounding the conflict in Iran. Let's bring in the director of polling at the Institute of Politics at Harvard University, MS Now contributor John Della Volpe. His new piece on Substack is titled Permission to Oppose the War.
John, the most surprising thing about this poll is that, and the polling in general is, I would have expected younger voters to be overwhelmingly against the war. That's just not the case. I think like most of us, and we just heard it in David Remnick, who said there is no doubt that Iran poses a threat to the region. That what we've been saying all along, there's no doubt it's positive that their military's been degraded. But on the other hand, and then there's a long list, it seems that younger Americans are feeling the same way. They're ambivalent right now about this war and trying to figure out whether they support it or not. Go into the details.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. And just for the record, this is kind of outside of my Harvard polling work. We'll be back with a 52nd edition of that in a few weeks. But what this is about is that I've been conducting, my digital twin, have been conducting in-depth conversations every night since the war began. Hundreds of conversations, thousands of interviews. And what we found, Joe, was among those members of Gen Z with strong opinions, you guys are right. It's 3, almost 4-to-1 oppose the war. But what I found surprising, like you, is that we have just as many, slightly more, who are kind of in the somewhat oppose, somewhat support. I don't have enough information right now to give you a strong opinion. The reason, I think, is that it hasn't quite been personalized yet. So when we talk about these tensions, is they're holding, as you often talk about, two ideas at the same time. They know Iran is dangerous. They know they've killed tens of thousands of people, but they also think our response is wrong, especially when young children are killed in Iran. There's a tension of they support the troops, of course, but they fear for their lives. There's a tension of maybe I don't have all the information. I'm not following this as closely as perhaps I could or I should. So they're struggling with this. And again, I think kind of in their hearts, they kind of oppose the escalation of this, but they're looking for information to personalize it more, to feel more confident in those views.
John, one of these tensions that really jumps out is I can't afford to care. It's exhaustion, as you write here, which is my life is so expensive. I've got so much going on at home. I can't afford to care what's going on. Now, part of the tension there is the war is making their lives much more expensive. Gas is $4 a gallon. It's going to start showing up in food and in other places as well. So maybe that's where that tension unlocks.
Willie, I think for the first time in like the decades that I've been polling, we actually spoke to a young woman living in her car. She said because of the war, she cannot afford to maintain her rent. And she was actually doing our interview to earn a little money to put gas in the car that she lives in. Other people who participated in these interviews talked about riding their bike to work because they can't afford gas. And they understand the kind of the connection. I think what they're asking for is for kind of the rest of us to help them kind of connect the dots. Again, they're living this experience. They know where it's headed, but they're conflicted because they don't think the Iranian regime obviously is doing the right thing kind of for their people in the region, et cetera. So it's just complicated for them.
Coming up next, our next guest is running for U.S. Senate in Iowa. Democratic State Representative Josh Turek joins us to talk about his campaign. Morning Joe, we'll be right back.
Yep, that's there.
Is the gauge supposed to say empty?
You can't trust those things. Don't worry, we're tethered for safety.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future.
Are you certified for this?
Technically, no.
Especially when it comes to your finances.
Do you have a question?
Are you a certified financial planner?
Yes, I'm a CFP professional.
CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.
Things at work don't always work. But with EasyCater, the food always does. Big room booked again? EasyCater always has options. Learn more at easycater.com.
Asthma. Does it have you missing out on what you love? Get back to better breathing with Fasenra, an add-on treatment for eosinophilic asthma. Fasenra is not for sudden breathing problems. Serious allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis, may occur. Get help right away for swelling of your face, mouth, tongue, or trouble breathing. Don't stop asthma treatments, including oral steroids, without talking with your doctor. Tell your doctor if your asthma worsens or you have a parasitic infection. Headache and sore throat may occur. Ask your doctor if Fasenra is right for you.
Hey, buddy.
Morning.
I'm a stickler for good dental care.
Me too.
Ooh, looking sharp today. But even if we take care of our teeth, we can still get...
No, please don't say it.
A big dental bill. That's why dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company is important. Now, this isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. It helps pay for over 400 procedures, like cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures.
That's a lot.
It's easy to find out more. Just call or go online now to get your free information kit with all the details. This dental insurance helps you pay for routine care and expensive major procedures, all with no deductibles and no annual maximums. You can even keep your dentist. Why pay more for dental care? Get your free info kit and start saving today. Call or visit physiciansmutualdental.com. Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
This is the true story of Alex. Recently promoted, he was earning more, but investing for the future,
I definitely needed a plan.
With his advisor Dennis, Alex invested his savings into 3 accounts.
One for now, one for later, and of course, his retirement.
A plan in motion put the future in focus. The wedding, the barn-dominium, kids.
Maybe kids.
The point here, Alex has more than big goals for his future. He's got a plan to get there.
Did you hear about Shield, that test for colon cancer?
No, what?
It's just a blood test.
No.
Exactly.
So I don't have to spend time doing all that other stuff?
Nope. No. Nope.
Shield is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved Shield, from the company trusted in blood tests for cancer for over a decade.
I thought people exaggerated about the pain from shingles.
I was wrong. I learned that the hard way.
But you don't have to. Talk to your healthcare provider today.
MS Now Premium gives you early access and ad-free listening to all of MS Now's original podcasts, including Rachel Maddow Presents Burn Order, plus exclusive bonus content, and all your favorite shows ad-free. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Morning Joe, weekdays 6 to 10 on MS Now.
I was born an underdog. 21 surgeries by the age of 12. Spina bifida, caused by my dad's exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. A kid wearing Goodwill hand-me-downs with the wrong color lunch ticket. I knew nothing would come easy, but I never doubted my right to the American dream.
That's part of a campaign ad for Democratic State Representative Josh Turek of Iowa. He's currently running in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate. He's also a 2-time Paralympic gold medalist in wheelchair basketball. Democrats in Iowa are hoping to flip the Senate seat currently held by incumbent Republican Joni Ernst this November, after Ernst had announced that she would not be seeking re-election. And State Representative Turek joins us now. Great to see you, Mr. Representative. Thank you for being here. Let's start with Iowa's a state that for decades was seen as a real swing state, and then it's clearly trended red in recent elections. But we can all see the polls. Democrats feel like you've got the wind at their back. So as you talk to voters in that state, what makes you confident that Iowa, this time around, could go blue?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Secondly, I would say that Iowa, we're not a red state. We're a common sense state that has masqueraded more red than what we actually are. We're a state in Trump's first midterm. We were able to win 3 out of the 4 congressional races. And in traveling this state for the last 6 months, there is significantly more energy and desire for change. This is also the first time since 1968 we have an open Senate seat, open governor's race, 2 open congressional races, and also in a state that has basically bottomed out, dead last for economic growth, dead last for nearly every healthcare metric, only state with a growing cancer rate, and now we lead the nation in farm foreclosures. This is a state that is ready for change, both at the state level and at the federal level.
So, Representative Turk, I know many people who have been following your campaign say they find your life story to be particularly inspirational. As you are out there talking to voters, what's at the forefront of their minds? And in particular, you just mentioned farms. What sort of impact has this administration's policies, the tariffs and the like, had on those farmers and, you know, who make up such an important part of your state's economy, but also character?
Been devastating to them. I mean, we are in what I'm calling a farmageddon. I mean, it is really a second farm crisis. We lead the nation in farm foreclosures, farm suicides are up. And the word that we hear all across in these rural communities with our farmers is betrayal, that these are folks that have by and large gone out and supported Trump. And now due to bad policy, both on the tariffs and what we're seeing with the war in Iran, I mean, we're looking at a situation right now where 30% of our farmers don't even have fertilizer. And here we are a month away from planting season, upside down on their commodities prices after the Trump administration gives $20 billion to Argentina. Meanwhile, our Iowa soybean farmers upside down. It really, really is devastating. And the issues that we're hearing the most out there is affordability. What we hear, regardless if we're in urban areas or rural areas, is that Iowans are hurting. They're struggling just to keep a roof above their head and food on the table.
So you just said that it was your father's exposure to Agent Orange when he served in Vietnam that led to your condition. This is a moment where the President of the United States is wrestling with that very decision. Does he put troops on the ground in Iran, whether it's the Strait of Hormuz, Kharg Island, or the like? What are your thoughts on that? Would that be an appropriate step? And your overall assessment as to what good has, if any, has come from this conflict?
Fundamentally against this conflict. Here we are yet again in another forever war with no strategy, no idea what we're doing. And Iowans were already paying a huge price on this conflict. We've already lost 3 Iowans because the base that was hit in Kuwait, those were largely Iowa National Guardsmen. We're spending $1 billion a day over there. Meanwhile, we've got schools and hospitals and roads that are closing here in Iowa, in a state that is dead last for economic growth. And these conflicts don't just end. My condition, my father spent 22 months in Vietnam, was exposed to Agent Orange. Because of his exposure to Agent Orange is the reason why I ended up with my disability. And these conflicts have generational consequences. And we shouldn't be sending our troops into harm's way. That is not America first.
And as you know, you run for this race, and if you were to be elected to the Senate, and the Democrats were to flip one, if not both houses of Congress, there'll be a lot of pressure from voters to investigate this president and his administration. Is that something that you would be in favor of? Because there have been some Democrats in the past who have said, no, we need to turn the page. We shouldn't look backward. We should look forward. Do you feel like those investigations are necessary?
They may be. I'll tell you this, that certainly right now I am 100% laser focused on Iowa and Iowans and winning this election so that we have somebody in the U.S. Senate that's actually fighting for the people and fighting for social and economic justice like my senator, like my hero, Tom Harkin. And if I'm elected to the U.S. Senate, I will certainly do my due diligence and investigate the facts.
All right. Democratic State Representative of Iowa and U.S. Senate candidate there, Josh Turk. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. You got it.
Coming up, a conversation with the stars of the new film Fantasy Life. Actors Amanda Peet and Matthew Scheer join the table. Straight ahead on Morning Joe.
Sarah Benzino, Brandon Coley, Jablonski Auto Body, LLC.
What'd she call Harper?
Oh, you mean Jablonski Auto Body, LLC.
We actually sold the Twins naming rights.
You know, like stadiums do. Kids are so expensive these days. Here he comes.
Oasis Breeze Tan and Spa.
If you need a tan, I'm your man. Could do business with you.
Or we can look at some investment options for you.
Works for us.
The right money moves aren't as absurd as you think.
Get in. I'm future you.
Constipation with belly pain again, right? Our doctor figured it out. She said it's IBS-C and Linzess could help you get ahead of it. Linzess is not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn how AbbVie and Ironwood could help you save.
See the USA in your Chevrolet.
The best way to see the USA starts in a Chevy, with SUVs for every kind of adventure, trucks built for the long haul, EVs that expand your horizons, and the freedom to chase a dream.
So make a day today to see the USA and see it in your Chevrolet.
There's no better way to see the USA.
And Doug.
Thank you both for coming in. I'm a bit worried about Doug Jr. I know how important Liberty Mutual is to your family.
They customize car insurance to save people hundreds.
Right. Well, Doug Jr. keeps writing this.
Douglas Jr.
Well, at least he spelled insurance right, right?
He did not.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Shopify's point-of-sale system helps you sell at every stage of your business. With fast and secure payment, card readers you can rely on, and one place to manage it all. Whatever the stage, businesses that grow with Shopify.
Easter in America. A time to reflect on your life's purpose and the spirit of rebirth and renewal. Knowing that through Christ, all things are possible. Rejoice in the Lord, that every day brings a new beginning. Embrace the promise of tomorrow as you honor your calling and create a brighter future by serving others and glorifying God. Happy Easter from Grand Canyon University.
What are the intrusive thoughts?
I think I suffer from internalized anti-Semitism.
Wonderful. Go on.
Do you think it could be like intergenerational trauma or?
Yeah, sure. Now, let's talk meds.
I'm feeling a little discouraged. Acting-wise, I ran into Bob Hempel at the gym, and he didn't even recognize me. He has Alzheimer's, Diane. What? Did you babysit? Your mom found a guy to help me with the girls.
Oh, no, that's a terrible idea. Would that be right for a patient?
You're functional.
My wife's parents are in Poland. My parents are at a Hugh Jackman thing. That's why we're in crisis.
That was a look at the new film Fantasy Life, now playing in New York theaters and showing nationwide on April 3rd. And yes, as we played that trailer, the panel burst out laughing repeatedly, so that's a good sign. The film follows law school dropout Sam, played by writer and director Matthew Shearer, who gets roped into acting as a caretaker for the children of an affluent New York City family. There he meets Diane, played by the actress Amanda Peet, a 51-year-old out-of-work actress struggling with an unfulfilling life and difficult marriage. The pair could not be more different, but over time, they form a surprising relationship and attraction. The film had its world premiere at the South by Southwest, where it won the Audience Award and the Special Jury Award for Pete's performance. Joining us now, Producer Amanda Peet and filmmaker Matthew Shear. Molly Jong Fast and Mara Gay, both the New York Times, are with us as well. And as I noted, we were laughing out loud there at the trailer. Amanda, this is obviously plenty of laughs, but like there's a seriousness and a heart to this story as well. What drew you to it?
Well, to be honest, it was the combination of those two things. So I read on page 8 or 9 the scene in which Matthew's character is with his psychiatrist, played by Judd Hirsch. And if you see the movie, it's kind of shocking, the scene, but I did a spit take and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, whoever had the brain that came up with this scene, I need to know him, and I'll just say a couple of lines or whatever. I just wanted to be in the movie. And then I discovered that the part was so wonderful, so.
And Matthew, you drew a lot of from your own life about this. Some of the challenges you, of course, experienced, but also some of the jobs you navigated as a Manny. That's right, a Manny for Manhattan Family. So tell us how you decided. That's right, a Manny.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. It's a television. Yes. So talk to us about your decision to take that from your life and put it on screen.
So the Manny aspect came from, having a side gig as an actor in my 20s. I became kind of a hot item on the Upper East Side amongst affluent families. A non-threatening, just sort of fun guy.
I don't know.
What, you don't think that's appealing?
No.
What?
She says threatening.
I think maybe you were probably a little, you were a hot item.
Hot and not threatening. That's
okay.
That's me. Anyhow, so that was, that came from that, and then I found a lot of different threads from my personal experience that I just became really interested in weaving, and one of those is the experience of being an actor, and it's kind of, ups and downs, and it was really fun to, create Amanda's character.
I just wanted to ask a little bit about this unusual connection that your characters find with one another. I mean, the film in some ways is about feeling stuck and also the search for connection in unlikely places. New York City is a great place to see that through. I guess, what are we to make of age gap relationships and relationships with, I guess, employers, too? Was this... talk to us a little bit about kind of the experience of playing out that awkwardness on screen and having fun with it.
I thought it was really beautiful. I think the movie isn't really dictating anything about what is appropriate and what's inappropriate. I think it's just, sorry to say it to sound corny, but just it's about the human connection and the fact that, yes, he happens to be younger, he happens to be an employee of the family, but it's just about the fact that they share the same brand of existential angst, I think, and feel attracted to each other for that reason.
That will do it for Morning Joe Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Good morning. It is Saturday, April 4th. This morning, a desperate search continues. The race to find a missing crew member from an American fighter jet shot down for the first time in the war with Iran. We'll have a live report from the region and the latest on how President Trump is responding.
Then the picture tells the story. Pam Bondi has literally been dumped as Attorney General despite being completely sycophantic to President Trump. And he may be planning more firings. We'll take a look at who could replace Bondi and what that could mean for the president's revenge campaign.
And Trump's assault on the right to vote. Stacey Abrams joins us to talk about plans to put ICE at the polls and Trump's executive order restricting mail-in ballots. So grab your coffee, settle in, and welcome to the weekend.
Welcome to the weekend. I'm Jonathan Capehart, along with Jackie Alamany and Eugene Daniels. We begin this hour with the dramatic escalation of the war as the search for an American service member inside Iran enters a second day today. That missing service member is one of two crew members aboard a U.S. F-15 fighter jet shot down over southern Iran early yesterday. One crew member was rescued. It was the first time Iranian forces successfully downed a U.S. fighter jet in 5 weeks of war. Separately, Iran is believed to have shot down a second plane yesterday, an A-10 Warthog. A U.S. official told MS Now the plane's pilot was safely rescued by American forces after the aircraft went down near the Strait of Hormuz. That same official told MS Now a Black Hawk helicopter searching for the missing F-15 service member was fired on and several crew members were injured. Meanwhile, Iran's military is also continuing to search for the missing American from the F-15, offering citizens a reward through Iranian state media. The two attacks came less than 48 hours after President Trump said in an address to the nation that the U.S. had, quote, completely decimated Iran and injected new confusion about the timeline of the conflict. In his first remarks after the fighter jet was shot down yesterday to NBC News, President Trump declined to comment about the search and rescue mission, but said the downing of the jet would not affect negotiations with Iran, quote, at all. Joining us now, MS Now reporter David Noriega, live from Jerusalem. David, what more can you tell us about the search for the missing crew member?
Good morning, guys. It's been more than 24 hours now since that American jet was downed in Iran, and that second crew member from that jet is still not accounted for. What that means is that we are at a massive crossroads in this war, and the way this situation is resolved, one way or the other, will very much shape the coming days and weeks of this war. If the U.S. manages to rescue this service member, as they did the first, then the situation will likely remain largely unchanged. But if Iran manages to capture this individual, particularly if they capture them alive, then it'll completely change the dynamic of the war. Iran will have a major point of leverage that it didn't have before, and it will, contrary to Trump's statements to NBC News, massively influence the negotiations, which, by the way, it's worth saying that Iran has repeatedly said that it does not consider the U.S. or Israel good faith interlocutors in a negotiation, because this is the second time that Iran has been bombed while in the middle of negotiations with both of those parties over its nuclear program and its ballistic missile program, guys.
David, Iran is offering money for the capture of the service member being alive is the key thing for Iran. When you're talking to the folks in Israel who are helping with the search here, and also folks that you're talking to Iran, you said it changes the war, but it also seems to change, it would change the way that the United States is operating in Iran, that we would be more careful possibly with the ways in which we're doing so and not to piss off Iran even more with one of our service members possibly in their hands.
Well, it has already changed the war insofar as the United States has now been forced to conduct essentially a ground operation, as well as flying much slower and lower flying aircraft over the region where this jet was down. We've seen footage of larger, again, slower and lower flying planes, as well as helicopters. That's why we've seen these multiple incidents that you guys outlined of additional American aircraft being shot at, and in at least one case downed as a result of this search and rescue operation. The Israelis are being very tight-lipped about this. I've reached out to the IDF and the Prime Minister's office. They have not commented. They have explicitly refused to comment on whether and to what extent Israel is participating in this search and rescue operation. But we know that from the very beginning of this war, Israel and the United States have been sharing intelligence. Israeli media is reporting that Israel is contributing to the search and rescue operation with intelligence. Whether that will have any kind of bearing on ultimately the outcome of this remains to be seen. And lastly, guys, I think it's worth pointing out that the war in no way has slowed down. Just today, there have been multiple reports of Iranian ballistic missiles striking various parts of Israel. There was additionally a report of what is believed to be an Israeli airstrike target striking the outskirts, the perimeter of a nuclear facility in Iran, although one person was said to be killed in that attack, but it's the International Atomic Agency said there was no sort of nuclear consequence of that people would have to worry about. So from here, the perspective is that the war it has changed insofar, again, as there is this extremely precarious search and rescue operation. But in terms of how much each side is targeting the other, things remain status quo, guys.
MS Now's David Noriega coming to us from Jerusalem. Thank you very much for that report. Joining us now, Mark Mazzetti, Washington investigative correspondent for the New York Times, and Mara Karlin, former Assistant Secretary of Defense for Strategy, Plans, and Capabilities for President Biden. She is a professor at Johns Hopkins University's School of Advanced International Studies, also known as SAIS. Thank you both very much for being here. Mara, let me start with you and pick up on what David was saying, that the war is in no way has slowed down. I'm going to play sound from the president on Wednesday and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth on Tuesday about air dominance around Iran. Watch this.
Tonight, Iran's Navy is gone. Their Air Force is in ruins. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force. We have all the cards, they have none.
The upcoming days will be decisive. Iran knows that, and there's almost nothing they can militarily do about it. Yes, they will still shoot some missiles, but we will shoot them down.
Meanwhile, on Thursday, CNN had an exclusive report. U.S. intelligence assesses Iran maintains significant missile launching capabilities, sources say. And quoting from the piece, roughly half of Iran's missile launchers are still intact, and thousands of one-way attack drones remain in Iran's arsenal. You used to work in the Defense Department. Who do you believe? The administration or the U.S. intelligence assessment?
Look, unfortunately, President Trump isn't the first U.S. president to think he was getting into a short and sharp war, and it ended up being longer and harder. The thing is, yes, Iran's military is severely weakened, but they don't need 100% success. 2% success can have an incredible impact on the conflict, as we've seen over the last 24 hours. You've got at least one U.S. service member who folks are looking for. That search is going to have its own challenges, and you can imagine that this spins into even more dangerous territory.
And Mark, you were part of the reporting team that actually obtained U.S. intelligence reports that showed that Iranian operatives have been digging out bunkers and silos that have been struck by American and Israeli bombs and then returning them into operation just hours later. You've also reported that American intel agencies have cast doubt on some of the claims that you just saw the president and Pete Hegseth make, that have cast doubt on just how much the U.S. has degraded their arsenal and military capacity. Can you talk a little bit about this reporting and some of the holes that it does poke in the few objectives that have remained consistent from this president?
So the Pentagon has been presenting this picture of this, overwhelming tactical success, that they're carrying out this mission. It is going according to plan, and there no doubt have been many successes. The Navy and the Air Force have been largely destroyed. However, as you just mentioned, the missile force is not destroyed. The missiles are hitting around the Gulf. They are continuing to hit in Israel. The presentation that the launches have gone down significantly isn't quite accurate. Iran's ability to reinforce its missiles and to move them around is something that caught planners off guard. And of course, this question of freedom of the skies, which the United States has said that they have. And yet what we saw yesterday was several planes shot down, and this question of what goes from there. I do think, as David said in the beginning, this very much hangs in the balance. The future of the war in the next couple weeks hangs in the balance based on what happens with this rescue mission and the fate of the service member who's down in Iran.
But is this something that should have caught people off guard? Is this something that you would have been prepared for?
No, look, anytime you looked at the potential of a conflict with Iran, you had to worry about missile forces, you had to worry about terrorist groups, you had to worry about the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, all of that absolutely made sense. Unfortunately, we didn't see the Trump administration do a lot of the preparations that one should have during the, if you're worried about those kinds of things. They didn't send a lot of the ships, for example, that would be helpful with clearing the Strait of Hormuz.
Mark, I am struggling. I feel like a lot of people are probably struggling with all these things that just don't make sense together, right? The timepiece reports that the president's looking for an off-ramp, that he wants to kind of declare victory and kind of get out of there. But he's also promising more bombing every single day. We have decimated their military. They have, you said, the free open skies, and yet we have the shooting down of this jet. One of our service members who knows where they are. When a president of the United States, someone who has access to all of the information that we want, right? That as reporters, we want to see ourselves. And yet the decisions he makes are not in line in any of that. It doesn't make any sense. Where does that leave us as a country?
Thoroughly confused.
Yeah.
Before the war, a lot of people were asking, when is the administration and the president going to make the case for this?
Right.
Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this now, right? Now, a month in, I think some were looking at the speech on Wednesday to provide some clarity, right? Again, how are things going and when is it going to end? And again, we got this largely muddled picture of we want to end, it won't go on for long, but it's going to escalate over the next couple of weeks in bombing Iran to the Stone Age, and this thoroughly confusing message of not only the purpose, but how to get out of it. And that's really the question. And then it wasn't just Wednesday night, right? It's this stream of social media posts by the president, and it's left, I think, most people with this question of what is the ultimate goal here and how does it end?
Yeah, we got this one on. This was yesterday after the jet went down. Keep the oil, anyone? That's literally all it says. Karen, let's throw that up. E2. Just keep the oil, anyone? Question mark?
That just gets to my perennial question, which is what about his mental acuity? But Mara, that's not what I want to ask you about. I'm not going to put you on a spot like that. But I do want to pick up on something you said earlier to Jackie when you were talking about how military planners knew if you go after Iran, you have to worry about, I think you said, missiles, terrorists, and the Strait of Hormuz.
Absolutely.
I've never worked in the Defense Department, and even I knew that, and that was without watching Top Gun Maverick. Which, if you haven't seen it, go see it, because the parallels here are really incredible.
Definitely bad movie. What? That my husband cried during. What?
Okay, we got to talk about Jake in a moment. Mara, I'm sorry this got derailed by my movie reference, but it does raise an issue in my mind, which is it seems to be the professionalism of the people inside, the career folks inside the Department of Defense versus the amateurishness of the president and his political appointees in waging this war. And I wonder, what does this do to the professionals inside the building, and why haven't we seen people resign in protest over things that they must know were dumb mistakes being made by an administration that doesn't seem to care about any of the work that they have done over decades that would show them that this was inevitable?
I mean, look, the military's job is to present options to the president. You can give them any sort of objective, and they're going to give you options, and ideally the pros and the cons and the risks in particular of pursuing those options. But fundamentally, the system we have in the United States means that it is the civilian's decision. It's up to the Secretary of Defense and the Commander-in-Chief, the President, to make those calls. And as long as those are legal calls, the military, particularly the senior military leadership, is going to follow that.
Mm-hmm. As long as your legal calls. I have lots of questions about that. Okay, Mark and Mara are sticking with us through the break. We're going to keep this conversation going, especially on what the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, thinks about the kind of information the president is getting. You're watching The Weekend.
Chef Lena is taking the Tide Booster test.
Oh, yeah, I need it.
Try Tide. It's boosted. The other stuff can't match Tide's Boosted Clean. Test passed.
Smells like clean.
It's cleaner, whiter, brighter, and fresher. It's got to be Tide.
Boosted!
During my recovery, the only thing I could think about was getting back to playing. Boost gave me the fuel to get back on the stage. Music is life. A real comeback deserves a real boost.
Everyone has free offers on the latest phones, but T-Mobile gives a lot more. T-Mobile family saved over $3,700 compared to the other big guys in the past 5 years. Our experience plans include amazing benefits like Netflix, free Dash Pass by DoorDash, and a bunch more. Oh yeah, and a 5-year price guarantee. So you keep saving. Save on a big scale. Switch to T-Mobile and we'll even pay off your old phone up to $800.
Prime would like to welcome you to Augusta National. A little earlier in the day than usual. The Masters now begins on Prime. Starting with 2 additional hours of coverage. The Masters now begins on Prime.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Ooh, that's rough. At least with Safelite, you can get that fixed any way you want. Anywhere I want.
Any way you want. It's the way you need it. Any way you want.
I can schedule a chip fix while I get my hair clipped?
Yep.
They can fix my glass while we fish for bass.
If you want.
They can recalibrate my safety features while I sit at home in my comfy pants?
That one doesn't rhyme, but sure.
Get it fixed any way you want at Safelite.com.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
We'll give you this for a better deal on that.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal.
Make every wash count.
Easter in America, a time to reflect on your life's purpose and the spirit of rebirth and renewal, knowing that through Christ, all things are possible. Rejoice in the Lord that every day brings a new beginning. Embrace the promise of tomorrow as you honor your calling and create a brighter future by serving others and glorifying God. Happy Easter from Grand Canyon University.
Almost everything at Old Navy is 40 to 50% off. Let's jump to our deals diva live at the store.
Easter fashion has never looked so good. Which one says, Easter Bunny, call me?
This one?
Oh, great choice. Excuse me.
As a nurse, you give 100%. At Post University, our 100% online nursing programs are 100% on your schedule. Apply now to go from RN to BSN in as little as 12 months. Learn more at post.edu.
They say you're distracted, that you can't sit still, that if it doesn't hook you in 8 seconds, you're gone. Funny, because when I start playing on screen, you show up. And that's the part people forget. Without you, there would be no me. There would be nothing to see. Fandango. We love fans.
What did I miss?
Tickets, streaming, fan club.
Mark Mazzetti and Mara Karlin are back with us. Mark, I want to start with you. Susie Wiles, the chief of staff at the White House, according to Time magazine, is in this mindset, quote, according to 2 White House sources, she's concerned aides were giving the president a rose-colored view of how the war was being perceived domestically, telling Trump what he wanted to hear instead of what he needed to hear. She had urged colleagues, the officials say, to be more forthright with the boss about the political and economic risks. Not the human risks, but, whatever. When you hear that, you remember that Vanity Fair article where she also said, that they needed to change the way they were doing immigration. She has an in to the president, right? Like she is very close to the president. He doesn't seem to be getting the message, and more importantly, the staff does not seem to be getting the message that he needs accurate information to make accurate and quick and smart decisions.
And I think it's actually totally consistent with how this White House operates, where
She was supposed to be the person to change
Yeah,
that
I mean, but even before the war, when the question was, you're deciding about whether to commit American forces to war overseas, the president needs to be told what can go wrong in the even worst case scenarios.
Right.
And we don't have really any reporting that suggests that happened. We have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane, gave various scenarios about, the best case scenario, some worst case scenario, but no one sort of hammered home this idea that this is war, things happen, and it will not necessarily be like Venezuela, which was in the president's mind as the model for an operation. Quick, easy, clean. But so here we are a month in, and as the Time report suggests, that still isn't happening, and the White House Chief of Staff is frustrated about that.
But is there
She could fix that.
Is there any indication that he is getting these intel briefings similar to what you just reported on? I mean, we know that there was Beth Stanner in the first administration. She was a CIA briefer. It's actually where he gets that term, the Stone Age, from. She used it. It was a reference to Curtis LeMay, who talked about bombing out the infrastructure of Vietnam. Obviously, that stuck with President Trump. But is there a Beth Stanner in this administration who's actually accurately relaying these kinds of intelligence reports that are pretty much contradicting the public statements he's making?
So he gets the daily intelligence brief. How much he absorbs it, the bulk of how much he absorbs it is a question. How much and I think it is still a question, right? How much the briefers in this administration, it's where it's a give and take, or if it's just presenting an assessment, he takes it, he reads what he wants. You're right, Beth Stanner during the first administration had a good rapport with him where there was a back and forth. And it's not like he shuts himself down to any contrary points of view, but he certainly has a narrative that he wants to continue with, and we see it on Truth Social. It's may not be entirely consistent, but it is it's a picture that is overwhelmingly positive, one of victory.
That's how he's always been, kind of.
Keep the oil, anyone?
Yeah.
If you put out a tally sheet, the Iranian regime has suffered untold losses, right? Political leadership, military leadership, institutions. The U.S. has suffered a few losses, 13 service members, a couple hundred service members who have been injured. But when you look at that, you could imagine why President Trump would say, see, we are winning. And yet, the longer this is going, I would suggest the harder it is getting to achieve U.S. objectives.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you, to bring everyone in on the conversation we were having just before we came back from the break. You said flat out, the United States is in a worse position today than it was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I think that's very much the case. Look, 2 or 3 weeks ago, the U.S. had been able to severely weaken different pieces of the Iranian regime. And there was a momentum. There were real questions of would this regime collapse, and if so, when? What's happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks, in particular, is the Strait of Hormuz has become the center of gravity. That is not good for the United States. It's really, really good for Iran. It's gotten the whole world focused, again, not in a positive way for the United States, but in Iran's leverage. And so I would suggest the longer this is going on, there's increased focus on the Strait of Hormuz. You've now seen President Trump send in a whole bunch of soldiers and Marines. We don't know what he will do with them. We've now, of course, had missing service members, so a big effort to try to find them. Of course, you can imagine how this becomes a little bit more resources for a little bit longer, and it becomes more and more challenging.
Can I just add, if you just look at the contrast in the language the president has used, the first speech of the war, he talked about the Iranian people overthrowing their government, right? And this is a good good people who have bad leaders, and we are here to help, right? That is all gone, right? Now we hear Wednesday night this idea of we're just going to keep bombing Iran back to the Stone Age. There's no question. It's basically Iran is a monolith, right? And that clearly, you see the frustration that they can't get what they wanted. And as Maura pointed out, there's no clear path to achieving those objectives.
Yeah, and the objectives keep changing is part of the problem also.
I wonder, though, quickly, just to challenge your point a little bit, I mean, aren't we in a worse position than we were at the start of the war? when there was less to negotiate?
Yes, look, it's still not clear why this war was started at this period of time. Iran has been a threat to the United States in different ways for the last 47 years. I don't know that anyone saw that it was imminent. So, yes, their regime is weaker, and now we're really, really deep in a conflict in the Middle East.
Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. Mark Mazzetti and Mara Karlin, thank you. Still to come, bye-bye Bondi, what the now former Attorney General's ouster could mean for the DOJ. Plus new reporting on who could be next to go from the administration. You're watching The Weekend.
I never thought I would develop shingles. I was wrong. I didn't know that 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles, and it could reactivate.
Don't learn the hard way like I did. Talk to your healthcare provider today.
This is the true story of Alex. Recently promoted, he was earning more, but investing for the future, I definitely needed a plan. With his advisor, Dennis, Alex invested his savings into 3 accounts. One for now, one for later, and of course, his retirement. A plan in motion put the future in focus. The wedding, the barn-dominium, kids. Maybe kids. The point here, Alex has more than big goals for his future. He's got a plan to get there.
I wish I could just watch live sports at home for a great price.
Sling lets you do that. Sling lets you do that.
Choose and customize your channel lineup. Or pause and watch for free. Sling lets you do that. Base package required.
I was tired of sitting on the sidelines. Now, thanks to Jointivia, I'm back in the swing of things. Wait, $70 for a refill?
You gotta try Single Care. Just look up your prescription, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and save.
Really?
Really. Single Care crushes the cost of my prescription, almost as much as I'm crushing Chad.
Unbelievable. See why more people are saving with Single Care. Common side effects include shockingly lower prices, excessive fist bumps, and humbling guys named Chad.
Antacid?
It might be more than heartburn.
Pepto-Bismol, son?
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Great vintage, huh?
And it pairs well with everything. Pepto-Bismol.
Guess what? Experian Boost is even better because now my monthly insurance payments, my streaming payments, my rent payments, even my phone payments can raise my credit scores instantly. Free.
More ways to build credit. Download the Experian app.
What does coming home to the delightful scents of Febreze plugs feel like? Like the best welcome home ever. Because Febreze has a microchip to control scent release, so it's first day fresh for 50 days. And a refill reminder light so that freshness never ends. Want to make the best even better? Try Plug Scent Booster with 3 intensity settings, flexible placement, plus a boost button for extra scent. And extra welcome home.
University of Phoenix is built for real life. At some schools, to save money, you have to move fast and load up on courses. We keep it simple. Take one course at a time with fixed, affordable tuition. Get started at phoenix.edu.
TaxAct is here to remind you you have to do your taxes. Let's get them over with.
We're used to different. Pre-qualified today.
We're family owned and operated for over 85 years. But when it comes to where you get your meat and cheese, just call us family. Dietz & Watson. It's a family thing since 1939.
At Year Up United, you can learn in-demand skills and earn a weekly stipend, all while leaving your mark on industry-leading companies. And with opportunity like that, there's nowhere to go but up. Learn more at yearup.org.
I'm coming for you. Cue up the spotlight. Drum up the beat right. You want this so bad, go get it, I dare ya.
Every Sunday night, he can't sleep. But not this Sunday.
When you really need to sleep, ZzzQuil has no equal. Get the deeply restorative sleep you need. ZzzQuil, not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep.
The ouster of now former Attorney General Pam Bondi could signal trouble for other top officials in the Trump administration. The Atlantic reports that there are active discussions about additional departures, including FBI Director Kash Patel, Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll, and Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer. That's according to several people familiar with the plans. But the White House has brushed off those claims. For now, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has been elevated to acting Attorney General. And within hours of Bondi's firing, images began circulating of her framed portrait unceremoniously removed from its place of honor on the walls of the Justice Department offices. MS Now obtained the photo of the portrait in a trash bin. Sources say Bondi's failure to successfully prosecute Trump's perceived political adversaries, plus her handling of the Epstein files fallout, are part of the reason for her firing, despite being one of Trump's most loyal foot soldiers. A loyalty that was on display during Bondi's heated testimony before the House Judiciary Committee in February.
Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin.
I'm sorry.
Not the Dow. Joining us now, Paul Butler, MS Now legal analyst, former federal prosecutor and professor at Georgetown School of Law, and Tolu Olorunipa, staff writer at The Atlantic. Hey, guys, thanks for being here this morning. Tolu, I want to start with some of the reporting that you all have. From what I'm hearing, it seems like this job is sort of Todd Blanche's to lose at this point, that him being elevated to acting attorney general is kind of a trial run. When you're looking at sort of the buffet, as Eugene likes to say, cribbed from Michelle Norris, of potential options here, people whose names have been mentioned that Trump is considering, who are also just floating their own names, maybe in an attempt to burnish their own reputation. But Jeanine Pirro, Lee Zeldin, Eric Schmidt, what do you think that Todd Blanche needs to do in order to solidify his job security?
Well, this is a tough job for any person in the Trump administration. We saw what happened to Jeff Sessions. We saw what happened to Bill Barr. It's hard to please a president who wants his attorney general to be his personal lawyer, going after his enemies and using the full force of the Justice Department to prosecute his enemies, protect himself, and protect his friends without really thinking about the Constitution or the rule of law or any of the things that typical attorney generals focus on.
Well, you put it like that, Tony.
That's what the president wants. We've seen him over the last 9 years talk about publicly what he wants from his attorney general. But he is going to go about this apprentice style. He has someone in there now with Todd Blanche who he wants to prove that he can do what the president wants, prove that he can lock up the president's opponents, people like James Comey, people like Letitia James, people who Pam Bondi was not able to get in front of a courtroom and get behind bars. We'll see if Todd Blanche goes a little bit more in trying to do that, even though, there's not very much evidence that they need to be prosecuted for the things that they are accused of. But this is a trial run. This is an apprentice-style, audition for Todd Blanche to get the job. And the task that he's being asked to perform, if he can do it over the next weeks and months, is to protect the president, protect his friends, and lock up his opponents. And that is something that very difficult for any attorney general to do, but something the president wants very, very candidly.
Paul, all of those people who could be the attorney general, I still believe that it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Donald Trump seems to be running the DOJ. What he wants gets done. But I do want to look a little bit of info on Todd Blanche. Current acting attorney general, he was Trump's personal attorney in the hush money criminal conviction, federal election interference case, classified docs case. He's a deputy attorney general under Bondi. On February 2025, during confirmation hearings, when asked if he's still Trump's lawyer, he said, yes, my attorney-client relationship with President Trump remains. Hold on to that. I want to get to that. July 24th to 25th of last year, he went down and interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell. September of last year, defended his decision to interview her, arguing that whether or not she was a credible witness was an impossible question. December 2025, he announced that the DOJ would release hundreds of thousands of Epstein files, and then it released only a small fraction of that amount. And the department made more files public at the end of January, as we remember. This is not a man, it seems, that in other presidencies might get the job. But I really want to get back to this. I mean, yes, my attorney-client relationship with President Trump remains. If he is the Attorney General, acting Attorney General, if he goes back and becomes the actual Attorney General of the United States, can that still be true? That his attorney-client relationship with President Trump remains. Now, does it remain for everything that they talk about, or does it just remain for the cases that they tried?
It does, unless the president would agree to waive it, which he should, since it presents an obvious conflict of interest, but he won't. Trump wouldn't do that. And as a practical matter, the consequences would be for Blanche and his law license, which is a reason why I don't know why any attorney with integrity would take this job, because if you work for Donald Trump, you are going to get in trouble with the bar. To your point, if we look at the attorneys general he's chosen, each one has been more compliant and more subservient. So he was mad at Barr, he was mad at Sessions because of the Russian investigation, and so he selected Barr. Barr said that the Russian investigation was a witch hunt, but the big lie was too far a bridge for Barr. And so Bondi, during her confirmation hearings, said that she couldn't say whether Trump had lost the 2020 election. And in fact, she sicked the FBI to go and get the voting machines from Georgia. So she's relitigating something that is about the big lie, something that's clear. So again, if that wasn't high enough for an attorney general to jump for Trump, then what's he looking for now? I mean, how high does he want someone to jump? It's not crazy for clients to ask attorneys to do things that the attorneys can't do. That's why attorneys are called counselors. But you have to listen. And when your client doesn't listen, you know what you do? You quit.
Yeah. In a normal world. So the New York Times reported the headline, Bondi wanting a graceful exit. She wanted a graceful exit. I'm going to read this from the story. Bondi hoped to save her job, or at the very least buy a little more time until the summer to give herself a graceful exit. Bondi's precipitous fall laid bare a cornerstone truth of Trump's second term. Loyalty, flattery, and obeisance are prerequisites for power, but they don't provide durable protection from a president intent on carrying out his maximalist personal and political goals. So this sort of encapsulates the issues for the next attorney general, whoever that person might be, Todd Blanche. So one of the things, that's my prediction, one of the things in I can't remember which organization pointed this out, the president was really upset that she could not bring any prosecutions or get any convictions of his political enemies. Whoever the next attorney general is still going to have that as a top priority of the president. We talk about the big ones: Letitia James, James Comey, our pal, the former CIA director, John Brennan. Those might be tough, but I'm wondering, you mentioned Georgia and Fulton County. Is there anything stopping the Department of Justice and the future Attorney General from going after Fani Willis?
No. And not only Fani Willis, Alvin Bragg, who made Donald Trump a convicted felon 34 times over. Jack Smith needs to be nervous, not because there's evidence that any of those people have committed a crime, but that wouldn't be a bar to an unethical prosecutor going after them. At minimum, you make them spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on attorney's fees.
The process is the punishment.
Exactly.
Paul and Toulouse are sticking with us to continue this conversation on the other side of a very quick break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Weekend on MS Now.
Sail through the heart of historic cities and unforgettable scenery with Viking. Unpack once and get closer to iconic landmarks, local life, and cultural treasures. Because when you experience Europe on a Viking longship, you'll spend less time getting there and more time being there. Viking, exploring the world in comfort.
Some messes feel impossible to clean.
This is impossible.
But now new Mr. Clean Magic Erasers make impossible possible. Just wet and squeeze and effortlessly cut through 100% of dirt, grease, and grime. So this is
100% possible.
They're upgraded and last 2 times longer to cut through even more tough messes. And use the new shower and tub scrubber for a deep clean in half the time. On shower glass and even bathtub soap scum.
Yes!
With Mr. Clean,
The possibilities are endless.
it's not just clean, it's Mr. Clean.
Is your asthma rescue a dinosaur? Air Supra is the only asthma rescue inhaler FDA approved to treat symptoms and help prevent asthma attacks. Air Supra should not be used as a maintenance treatment for asthma. Get medical help right away if your breathing doesn't improve or worsens, or for serious allergic reactions like rash, mouth or tongue swelling, trouble breathing or swallowing, or chest pain. Using Air Supra more than prescribed could be life-threatening. Serious side effects include increased risk of thrush or infections or heart problems like faster heart rate and higher blood pressure. Ask your doctor if Air Supra is right for you.
Jardiance plays a role in my story, too. I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well with Jardiance, a once-daily pill that helps lower my A1C. It works 24/7 in the body to flush out some sugar.
And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death, too.
Serious side effects include increased ketones in blood or urine and infection between and around the anus and genitals. Both may be fatal. Severe allergic reactions, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections in men and women, and low blood sugar. Stop taking and tell your doctor right away if you have nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, rash, swelling, trouble breathing or swallowing. Tell your doctor about lightheadedness, weakness, fever, pain, tenderness, redness, or swelling between the anus and genitals. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have new pain or tenderness, sores, ulcers, or infection in your legs or feet.
Jardiance is a little pill with a big story to tell. And if you ask me, it's pretty swell.
Action!
From the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, the Ego 22-inch aluminum deck mower with Select Cut is the most powerful mower in its class, featuring an aluminum deck that allows for extreme blade speeds, producing the perfect razor-sharp cut. Designed for durability that's guaranteed for life. All powered by Ego's patented 56-volt arc lithium battery. One battery powers all tools. Find an Ego retailer near you.
Let's go!
Very weird.
Rated PG in theaters now.
Paul and Tulu are back with us. Paul, you said something interesting during the break that I think needs to be put out on the table. Now, when the president announced via social media that his attorney general was fired, he said that he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, wish her luck in her exciting new opportunities or opportunity in the private sector, which made everyone think
very important private sector job.
Very important private sector job. But does she have one, and why would it be problematic if she actually did have a job before being fired?
There would be a fundamental conflict of interest. When I was a prosecutor at the Department of Justice, we could not negotiate with potential other employers until we left because we were representing the United States of America. And if you're working for a law firm or for a corporation who has a business before the United States of America, you've got two different masters. And so you have to wait until after you leave before you accept another job.
So they may be lying about this job.
You think?
I don't know. Tulu.
There's gambling in this establishment.
Tulu, Trump is starting to fire people in a way that he hadn't before, right? You look at Mike Waltz, he just moved him to a different job. Honestly, same thing with Kristi Noem, moved her to a different job. This is the first time he's actually gotten rid of someone on a high level of the administration. You guys were reporting that that is going to continue. There are some other people, as Jackie laid out, which she was reading a little bit ago, that should be looking over their shoulders. What changed and why now?
Well, my colleagues reported that, in the first year of the second Trump term, there was a motto, no scalps. He did not want to give scalps to the media. He did not want to fire people and have a bunch of chaos around his administration the way he did the first term, where there were people getting fired.
Self-inflicted scalps, to be clear. Like, we didn't ask for scalps. He gave them to us.
Yes, a lot of scandal, a lot of drama, a lot of people leaving the office in the first administration. Remember the Scaramucci's, how long would this person last in office?
Scaramucci or the cabbage?
Probably about a tie.
Well, the scandal seems so quaint now, though. I mean, remember Tom Price was fired for using the jet?
Yeah, the scandals have definitely been supersized this time around, but the president said no scalps for the first year. But now he's kind of at the end of his rope. He realizes that he needs to make some changes. He sees his approval rating going down. The midterms are not looking good for him. And he got rid of one scalp. He got rid of Kristi Noem, and he looked around and said, this wasn't that bad. And let me look around and see who else needs to get fired. And potentially, claiming a scalp may put a couple of other people on notice, and people that aren't performing well might realize that they are not as comfortable in their jobs as they once were.
The problem is the reason his approval rating's down, not because of Kristi Noem, not because of the Pam Bondi, not because of anybody else but himself.
Well, he's never going to accept that. And so it's who can I look at, who can I point the finger at as my approval ratings go down, who can I fire to try to turn things around.
We do still have a little bit of time left with Pam Bondi. She said that she's going to stick around for at least a month, and she also has been subpoenaed to appear before Congress. She is, I think, set to appear April 14th.
Yeah.
Paul, Robert Garcia commented about the Bondi subpoena actually this week. Let's give it a quick listen.
The subpoena that we put in place, where all Democrats and some Republicans joined us, that subpoena doesn't say or specify whether she needs to be in her position currently to testify. It says, we want to speak to Pam Bondi, whether she's the Attorney General or not. We've already checked with the lawyers. We've checked with the committee. She is set to be in front of the Oversight Committee in 2 weeks, and now she has an opportunity to come clean, tell the truth. Her boss isn't going to be Donald Trump anymore.
Do you think Trump letting her go prior to this testimony is going to backfire on him?
She's going to have to testify. The subpoena had her name on it. It didn't say Attorney General of the United States, fill in the blank. It's Pam Bondi. And speaking of Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, he gets the credit or the blame for everything that she did. When I was at the department, we never saw the Attorney General. It's the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who runs the day-to-day. So Bondi says, do a criminal investigation of Joe Biden for an auto pen. It's Todd Blanche who got that done.
Bob Butler, Tola Olorunipa, thank you both so much for joining us today. What a crazy time to be alive. Up next, how much longer will Republicans in Congress keep the government partially shut down? We'll have the latest on the Capitol Hill drama. And remember, if you've got a question or comment for us at home, go check us out on Blue Sky or Instagram. Our producers will surprise us with them later on in the show. Our handle everywhere is @TheWeekendMSNow.
Are you Marsha?
I am. I am.
Thanks for meeting me here. Usually not an interweb dating guy. Barely ever use this phone computer. Unless it's to bundle my insurance with Liberty Bibbity.
Oh, same. I hate this thing, but it's true. You can save hundreds bundling with Bibbity.
Bibbity?
Bibbity?
Bibbity.
Bibbity.
Are you hungry? Let's get some lasagna.
And some cannolis.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. I know what you're thinking. Here's Kristen Bell on a luxurious vacation with her pretend kids. But I'm really here for all the points I get with my City Strata Elite card. I live for a fancy dinner where I don't have any idea what I'm eating. But what I really love, 6 times the points. Just eat your points, sweetie. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. And slightly more than all the points I'm earning.
City Strata Elite. Rewards where it counts. That's the point.
Life, diabetes. There's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with Carb Steady. Glucerna. Bring on the day.
Febreze. When you host, your bathroom can feel like a revolving door. Keep things fresh with Febreze Bathroom. It's an outlet-free air freshener that fights odors for 45 days. So even after every flush, you know your bathroom smells amazing.
So I'm sensing a bit of tension between you two.
Well, our heart attack was a wake-up call, but I still feel like we could do more to avoid another one.
Come on. I started eating kale. Kale. And I take statins.
Right, and we're hitting the gym, but I'm worried it's not enough. I just want him to ask our doctor about Repatha.
Normally, I don't take sides, but you should listen to your heart.
Repatha plus a statin dramatically lowers LDL-C by 63% and drops the risk of having a heart attack by 27%. Do not take Repatha if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site.
You were right. Our LDL-C is in a better place.
And so are we.
Listen to your heart. Ask your doctor about Repatha.
I demand a lot of my body. I'm a singer, I'm a dancer, I'm an actor. And I want to make the most of every single day. I do want to do 8 shows a week on Broadway. I do want to travel. And I know if I want a lot out of my body and out of my mind, my energy, I have to put the right things into my body. Morning! And it gives me such peace of mind to know that I have this really simple and yet trusted way of getting all the nutrition I need. Oh, it's good.
Really happy to have you here. Happy Monday. I have some stuff to show you guys. If we are trying to backstop our democracy, part of it is Congress asserting itself. How hard has it been to get this information? Can I just get your take, your read on what's going on here? Trump has never been less powerful. The agenda he's pursuing has never been more evident and more unpopular. The people on the other side of this fight, they know the way they're going to save American democracy is by using American democratic means to do so.
The longest running partial government shutdown is going to last at least another 10 days, thanks again to Republicans. Earlier this week, House Speaker Mike Johnson reversed course and agreed to back a Senate plan to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security, but exclude funds for ICE and parts of Border Patrol. Republicans would then approve money for ICE and CBP in a separate reconciliation package. That's essentially the same plan that just days ago Johnson called a, quote, crap sandwich. And it's similar to one Democrats proposed weeks ago. But House Republicans refused to pass the bill during a pro forma session on Thursday. Now, Speaker Johnson says a final House vote to end the government shutdown will have to wait until the House is scheduled to return on April 14th, because God forbid they come back here and do their jobs that we paid them for. I texted with Schumer's team and I said, when was the first time that you guys offered to fund everything but ICE and CBP? And they said the 5th of March. And they sent me a press release that had it. And so at the very least, March 5th, the same deal that we got right now, this shutdown could have been over by then.
I mean, I was the one who guffawed at your crap sandwich.
Yes, well, it wasn't Jackie.
Reference. Because I'm going to read the full quote, and this comes from our colleagues Michael Schnell.
Acting very well. Now, it's very unfair. And Republicans, judges, and justices, they always want to show that they're independent. I